Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, January 31st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, a couple of clarification points. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing, and the candlestick you see right there will be changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes of time. Stock number one here, CVNA, huge move today, and now we have ourselves a very nice pattern. And let me be very clear, as I draw this pattern, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that I have a special skill or this is a great discovery. I assure you a lot of people are going to be watching this pattern. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So the pattern here that in my mind, a lot of people are going to be watching. So you got a lot of people drawing that resistance trend line right here. You got a lot of people noticing that the price has found some support down there a couple of times. So let me change that to green to represent more so a bullish dynamic of the pattern. And then maybe make it a little bit easier to see. Let's just make this all the same color here. But we have our resistance, support, explosive move right there. For you golfers, let's put a golf hole down here. So we have what is known as a bull pennant pattern. Are there guarantees? Absolutely not. But is it valid? Is it plausible to think that if the price can come up here and get a break up through the top part of that pattern, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That's certainly a valid conclusion. So if you like to play bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on it. Next one, HSCS, and same general idea of what we just talked about in terms of patterns. So I don't want to repeat myself too much, but let me be very clear. This is not trying to press you, not trying to imply I have a special skill. So we have our key resistance there. We have this trend line down here, which offers up the area of support. And then in this situation, a slight difference, and maybe some would disagree in the terminology, but this, you don't want to get too far hung up in the terminology, but resistance, support, big move up here. And in this situation, have ourselves a good solid bull flag pattern. So now I get it. Some people might draw something like that and say, no, this is still a bull pennant. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I see where you're coming from. But like I said, at the core, the key dynamic here is that there's a very well-defined breakout point. There's been huge volume, nice consolidation. Consolidation has happened on lower volume. So, does it guarantee anything? Nope. But is all of this worth keeping an eye on, especially if you like to play patterns down in this price range? Absolutely. Next one, SOFI, and you're going to notice a theme here, but same general idea. Just a lot of stocks out there that are, forming good solid patterns after these big movements up. So here with SOFI, we have a key breakout point right there at $6.90. As far as supports, you can see that there's been a couple that are starting to form now with this lower trend line. So again, get that changed to green. And I'm just going to start to move a little quicker here because you're getting the idea here. Maybe you already know what I want to say next, but resistance, support, nice move up, and bull flag, bull pennant, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, the point here is big move. Now as it goes sideways, you can see nice low volume consolidation. So does this get a surge back in the upwards direction? Let's keep an eye on it and see if there can be some self-fulfilling prophecies. Next one, GNS, which is a bit of a different animal here because there's no doubt about it. This one's looking pretty ugly right now, but you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next, but there can be opportunity in the ugly. So yeah, big pullback here, no doubt about that, but it is starting to get close to potentially a very interesting area. That level being down here for a couple reasons. You have a gap close location right down here at that green line, but you also have that purple line hanging down around the general area, which on my chart denotes the 50-period moving average. So as I've said, and we'll probably repeat another dozen times because I don't want people to get confused, there are no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid that the price were to come down here in this 435-ish area, it could find some support, close that gap, and then get some sort of bounce? Absolutely. So assuming you can be disciplined and honor stop losses, then even if you get a modest bounce compared to what was being risked in the first place, you could structure yourself a very nice risk versus reward scenario. So keep an eye on it. Next one, TSLA. Tesla did this one on Friday, and as I talked about, there was indeed a pullback. Talked about this being sort of a poor man's rising wedge, which implied, potential pullback. And like I said, not that I'm some sort of genius. Tesla was already up a huge amount. So to see some sort of pullback wasn't the most exactly, I don't think, shocking thing. But yeah, we do officially have the pullback here, which let me get these lines out as they serve their purpose for now. So there's no doubt about it that after today, there is this downwards channel that has formed. Now, this is where perspective comes into play. If you're, a day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you call yourself, and you're buying up around there, and you're hoping to, buy and sell within a couple hours, well, then yeah, from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad because this downward channel has formed. However, if you care about things from the big picture point of view, part of that would include, asking the question, well, what was going on before this downward channel? And what was going on was this big old move right here, which now is just giving me the ability to draw a bull flag pattern. So is this a good or bad looking chart to you? I have no idea because I don't know what your perspective and strategy was going into it. But assuming you do care about the big picture of things, sure, it pulled back, but overall, you just have yourselves a bull flag pattern. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for my free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, to manage risk, then get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you've seen, then I definitely want you to get signed up for the free live training. Next one, AMC, a brutal day because Friday, things were looking quite encouraging. You had the big move up, and sure, it did get rejected by that resistance level right there. And yeah, a lot of the stocks had a rough day today, so a lot of them had gap downs. But the problem is this thing pulled back after the gap down and then broke down below the pink line there, which on my chart, I know it's a very famous, the very well-known 200 period moving average, which is just not a good sign any way you look at it. So yeah, brutal move today. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. But the first key dynamic, let me zoom in here a little bit more, to watch from a resistance standpoint, it's just based on the foundational rule that when levels of support are broken and close below, they tend to act as resistance. And going into today, that level was a support. And you can see at first that 200 period moving average was doing a great job of holding strong. But now that the price is down below it, this would be considered the near-term area of resistance right there at $5.13. In terms of levels of support, nothing fancy or complicated here, just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today. That was at 495. So keep an eye on 495. But overall, these are going to be the main dynamics to watch. But yeah, rough day today. To be respectable, or to be fair, a nice respectable bounce this afternoon. Does it actually mean anything? We'll see what happens, but that's where that 200 period moving average can help out. Next, HLBZ, and the downtrend continues. So, in fact, let me squeeze this down. There we go. I want to bring that pink line into play there and just get rid of that because really, in all actuality, that's going to be the line of the sand. That's going to be the level that a whole lot of people are watching. Again, the 200 period moving average valued at 22 cents there. So if the price does go down there and then just blast down through there, at that point, the chart, I don't want to say is totally ruined, but it is oh so close. It is very, very close to being totally ruined because as of right now, you can still make the argument that yes, there's no doubt about it. This has been a massive pullback, but from a big picture point of view, at least the price is still above the 200 period moving average, and that is a valid argument. That is true. That assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, it is still above that that long-term moving average. But that's why if the price were to then drop down below there, at that point, you really have nothing to say at all from a bullish standpoint. So yeah, things are looking ugly, things are looking rough, but there is still a little bit of hope, and that hope is that 200 period moving average. Next one, BBBY, and talked about this one previously. And overall, this trend line here that I put in the last time I did a watch list video on this one, you can see is actually doing a pretty good job. You can see that the price, in a weird way, just seems to be getting stuck on that line. And because that line is going down, the price itself is slowly getting dragged back down. So that's really, in my mind, the big question is this trend line going to continue to kind of drag the price down with it? Again, if you just look at it, that's exactly what it seems to be going on here. Is that if you envision this kind of has got like a glue on it, and as this slope goes downwards from the line, and it's glue, the glue is just slowly pulling the price down with it. So like I said, that's a very interesting dynamic. If the price does try to separate away from that red line there, key area of resistance is going to be, yeah, you guessed it, that pink line, 200 period moving average up there at, let's just call it $3.20. But overall, today in and of itself, a good day. Nice solid move upwards, both in the grand scheme of things and looking at the bigger picture, hence that trend line there. There's still work that needs to be done. But overall, especially when you consider the news that was coming out last week, nice little recovery. But was this just some sort of little miniature short covering? We'll see what happens with it. But yeah, definitely an interesting scenario. Next one, NIO, and rough day here as it pulled back. But again, that is all a matter of perspective. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level because within the grand scheme of things, if I squeeze things down, I definitely did not need to go that far down. Sorry about that. Yeah, we'll go extreme here. And then if I draw up the trend line like so, No, actually, now that I do that, never mind. I'm trying to fit a square peg through a round hole here. Overall, the chart's still bullish, looking shaky, and I say still bullish because if you look at where the lows were here, did a good job of staying there. Then if you look at those lows and then that low, and then down here, you can still see that the overall trend is still up. You're putting in those higher stair steps. But yeah, it is still looking a little bit shaky here. But to be fair, and this is where, I realize I'm stumbling over my words, but it's difficult because I don't know your perspective going in. A day trader that bought right there, chart looks terrible. But if you truly care about the big picture point of view, then in all actuality, everything is still perfectly fine because the price isn't anywhere close to that pink line right there, which you can actually see already has provided a nice little bounce area right there. So overall, it just really depends on your point of view going in, but there's no doubt about it that pink line is going to be a very important level moving forward. And if there is any sort of bounces back upwards, key area of resistance, now to keep a closer eye on right up there at about $12.50. And then after that, yeah, you can put more focus on the $13.25 mark. Next, TQQQ, which is an ETF that follows the NASDAQ. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. So this one had a rough day today. The big difference here is this just allows you access at a much lower price point, which makes it a very popular ETF. So again, if you think that the NASDAQ market is going to go up, then this is a way that you could participate in that. But the NASDAQ market went down today, hence this one going down. And a very rough day here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose. But as I said previously, just the rule when levels of support are broken and closed below tend to act as resistance. So if this one does try to bounce and curl back upwards, that'll be the first big question mark is, first off, can it even get back up to 23? But if it does, can the price actually break above it and stay above it? So that'll be that main area of resistance right there. In terms of next areas of support, if this pullback continues, very interesting level is going to be right down here, around $21.25. So $21.25 is the next level. And then, yeah, if that level's broken, then we can start to talk more so about the 200 period moving average down there. But as of right now, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. But no doubt about it, rough way to start off the week. But again, to be fair, when you consider what happened in the back half of last week with the price almost going straight up, a bit of a pullback here, not the end of the world. And yeah, maybe I drew a little bit of a bootleg bull flag pattern there. But what I'm trying to get across is one day is not going to make or break a chart, especially when you consider that the previous days were basically going straight up. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the class. It'll be, like I said, later on this week, Thursday, February 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me quick. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, say hi, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things communicate to me that you enjoy. And as long as I know that you as viewers are enjoying, I will continue to put in the time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, get signed up for that class, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.